Conflict of interest, any declarations?
Seeing none?
Seeing none. Okay. So on the agenda, we have two items. 4A, 3 First Street, PIN number 276501. And 4B, 85 Malpeck Road, PIN number 388181. And tonight's public meeting is to hear comments, questions, or concerns on two applications. Those two applications I already mentioned, 3 First Street, 85 Malpeck Road. 3 First Street will be the first to be presented by the staff members Emily Trainer, and the presenters or owners Alan Aitken and Shelley Cole. Second one is 85 Malpeck Road. The staff member presenting will be Robert Zilke, and presenter owner will be Greg McDougall and Jeff Murphy. So with the COVID-19 health situation, the City of Charlottetown continues to adjust our operations or pivot our operations and practices in the wake of the constantly changing COVID-19 environment. During this time, all committee meetings of council, etc., are to be held remotely. Therefore, tonight's public meeting is being held via WebEx. The meeting is also live streamed on YouTube, and a recording of this meeting can be accessed after the meeting. Video link is www.charlottetown.ca/video. We only have two council members not present yet. That's Councillor Rivard and Councillor Mike Duffy. Planning board members, we have Bob Kenny, Basil Hambley, and Rosemary Hebert. And resident members of the public for First Street, we have Angie MacArthur. Is that correct, Angie? Yvonne Morrison and Ronnie Carragher. And for 85 Malpeck Road, it's Sean McGilvery. Now I'm going to call on Councillor MacLeod to present the order of each presentation. Councillor MacLeod.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Welcome everyone to our public meeting via WebEx. Just going to go over the order of events of our presentations. So there will be a brief presentation by staff, followed by a presentation from the applicant, and the applicant is given 10 to 15 minutes to present his application or her application. The general public will be given an opportunity to speak. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes in which to provide their comments or to ask any questions they may have. The chair will be calling your name when it's your turn to speak. Our technical staff will request that you to unmute your mic before providing any comments. Council members will be allowed to ask questions of clarity, remembering not to give their opinion on the project, as they are to remain neutral until the process is complete. Some reminders for this evening: while a member of the public is speaking, others are asked to show respect and decorum to all participants. Refrain from unmuting their devices unless you are asked to speak. When asked to speak, please make sure you speak clearly so all participants can hear your comments. Written submissions must be received on or before 12 p.m. Wednesday, February the 2nd. With that, I would like to offer my many thanks to the residents who are with us here tonight, and to the many of you who will provide feedback and ask questions after the presentation. Thank you for engaging in this process, and I look forward to a vibrant discussion, and we'll now go back to the chair to continue on with this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor MacLeod. Thank you very much. So we're going to call this meeting to order. I already asked declarations of conflict of interest. The agenda is very simple. We have two applications, one for 3 First Street and the second for 85 Malpeck Road. So I'll call on Emily Trainer for the first presentation. Emily, do you want to take over?
Thank you, Your Worship. I hope everyone can hear me here. Just give me a thumbs up if you can. Wonderful, thank you. So I'm going to briefly introduce you folks to the rezoning application we received regarding the property known as 3 First Street in Charlottetown. So the application is to rezone this property from low-density residential R2 to narrow single-detached residential R1N. So just to quickly orientate you folks to this property, it is located just north of the dead-end terminus of First Street and northeast of the Mount Edward Road, Belmont Street, and St. Peter's Road intersection. What you see here is a zoomed-in image of the zoning map, and you can see 3 First Street is highlighted in red there. So this property is about 300 meters north of the 500 lot area, so downtown Charlottetown. And this property, as mentioned, is zoned R2, low density residential today, along with properties to the north, east, and south, which are shown here in beige color. Properties to the west, fronting St. Peter's Road, highlighted in purple, are zoned commercial C1. And when we look at provincial tax assessment records, we see that immediately adjacent properties contain a mix of single and 2-unit residential dwelling types. Here's a street view image of the property as it is today. So it's currently occupied by a 2-story single detached dwelling. It also has a detached garage, shed, and landscaping. It's a larger property. It's about 0.35 acres in size, and it has a frontage of about 88 feet along First Street and a depth of about 170 feet. And the applicants are on the line today, so I understand they'll get into their proposal a bit more, but just to briefly note that the purpose of this rezoning application is that the applicant is looking to subdivide this lot into 2 separate parcels, with one parcel occupied by the existing single detached dwelling that you saw in that previous image, and the second parcel occupied in the future to be constructed a new single detached dwelling. So what's shown here is an image of the preliminary survey plan that was submitted by the applicant, showing the proposed subdivision, the existing dwelling on the north lot 21.2, and the proposed footprint of the future single detached dwelling on lot 21.1. So the R2 zoning that applies to this property today, it does permit a wider range of low-density dwelling types. So it permits duplex dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, and single-detached dwellings, and modular homes as well. But under the proposed condition, the subdivision of this property, the proposed single-detached dwelling and the existing single-detached dwelling would not meet the frontage requirements for single-detached dwellings in the R2 zone, which is a bit larger. It's 59.1 feet. So under the proposed rezoning, so to R1N, which is more so orientated to single-detached dwellings on narrow lots, there's a more limited permitted uses, so only single detached dwellings and modular dwelling types are permitted. However, if the applicant were to subdivide this parcel into 2 lots, as they're proposing, they would be able to meet the lot frontage requirements for single detached dwellings on both lots as well, which is about 34.8 feet. So that kind of concludes my introduction to this application, and I will pass the floor over now to the applicants who are on the line. And if folks have any questions about the zoning kind of technical aspects of this application, please feel free to direct them my way. So thank you, folks.
Yeah, Emily, just before you do that, I noticed that Shaylin Murray has dropped in. She's into the meeting too. So hi, Shaylin. So Mr. Aiken and Shelley, do you want to start your presentation? Just a reminder that each speaker will be given 5 minutes to speak. Do you want to start off, Alan?
Yeah.
Shelley?
Okay, hopefully you can all hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, we are Alan and Shelley, and we are the owners of 3 First Street. We are seeking approval to rezone our existing property to allow for the construction, the creation of a new lot, which will enable us to construct a new home next door. We quite enjoy this area. It's a quiet street, there's privacy, and we would like to remain here into our senior years, which I'm fast approaching. Okay, so our request is to rezone the property at 3 First Street. The current property number is 276501, located at 3 First Street. It is zoned as low-density residential R2 zone, as Emily has pointed out. And the request is to have it rezoned to single detached residential zone. Okay, so the purpose again is to allow for the subdivision of the existing property at 3 First Street into 2 separate lots. One lot would be occupied by the existing single detached dwelling, and one lot would be occupied by a proposed new single detached dwelling to be constructed at some time in the future. So our property at 3 First Street is currently zoned low density residential R2 zone and has a single detached dwelling on it. It's located, as was seen in one of the slides that Emily presented, on the northern half of the property. We are seeking approval to rezone this property to allow us to subdivide the parcel effectively in half to create 2 R1N zoned lots. One of the lots will contain the existing single detached dwelling, and it is our intention to construct the new single detached dwelling on the other / new lot. The existing R2 zoning allows for a range of low-density dwelling types, including single-detached, modular, semi-detached, and duplex dwellings. This is what Emily also presented. Okay. Here you'll see a picture of the plot plan when the house was purchased in 2000. It shows the dwelling in the northeast corner of the property. The property is approximately 88 feet wide by deed, by 169 feet deep, resulting in an area of 0.34 acres. Based on recent survey data, the property has been determined to be 88.1 feet plus or minus width, and the depth ranging from 172.5 on the northerly boundary to about 174.6 feet, for a total area of 15,265 square feet, or 0.35 acres. As mentioned before, the property is currently zoned R2, which would allow for the construction of a semi-detached dwelling, each requiring a minimum lot frontage of 36.1 feet, thus requiring an overall width of 72.2 feet. But our desire is not to construct a semi-detached structure, but rather subdivide 2 parcels to create 2 single detached dwellings. Proposed R1N zoning. The R1N zoning would limit the permitted dwelling types to single detached dwellings and modular dwellings only. That, as Emily had mentioned, and it is our intention to construct a new single detached dwelling on the new lot. This is a little bit more of a blow up of the survey, the preliminary survey plan that Emily presented in her introduction. In reviewing the zoning and development bylaws, it became apparent to us that if we were able to subdivide our property in half, the resultant width would be approximately 44 feet, which would easily meet the minimum width requirements of 34.8 feet for R1N narrow single detached residential zoning. Side yard requirements of R1N zone are 6 feet. If you look at the northern portion of the property, where our existing house is located, which is fairly narrow, it is located about 15 feet from the northern boundary of the property. The driveway is also located in this 15-foot side yard. Using the required side yard requirements of 6 feet, this would result in an overall width of of lot 21-1, which contained the existing house of about 44.2 feet, with the resultant width of about 43.9 feet being lot 21-2, which would contain the proposed new house. A outline of a proposed building dimension using the 6-foot setback requirements is shown on the proposed site plan. And overall, the two areas of lot 21-2 and 21-1 are almost identical, 7,633 square feet and 7,632 square feet, which more than well exceeds the minimum requirement for area of R1N lots by a factor of almost 2.2. The requirement for an R1N area minimum is 3,498 square feet, and like I said, the resultant area of these two lots would be slightly over 7,600 square feet. That's really what we have to present. If there are any questions, we're welcome to take them.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Shelley. So just before we open up for questions, anyone who's speaking, just please give your name. We can see it anyways, but just for the public record. And address can just be Charlottetown. And since this is a WebEx meeting, when I call your name to speak, technical staff will request that you unmute because we want to keep all the mics muted so that we don't have feedback. And we'll take it from there. So first speaker, there's Angie. I believe there's Angie MacArthur, Yvonne Morrison, and I think Ronnie Carricker is calling in. Angie? Yvonne, if you're trying to speak, just unmute your mic, please.
Hi, my name's Yvonne, and we actually live next door to Alan and Shelley. And we wish them well with their endeavor or whatever. We just have a few concerns, it being on a dead-end street. One of them actually right now is snow removal this time of year. Where will all the snow go with another property on the street? And maybe parking might be an issue. And another question I was a little concerned about was property real estate values. And also with the trees, there's some large trees that I understand would have to be removed. There were just some concerns that we had with it. We don't want to stop it or anything, but they were just concerns that we had.
Okay. Alan, Shelley, trees, the snow removal, extra traffic?
I'll speak to the trees first. Obviously, yes, there are 2 or 3 trees that are presently located between our house and Scott and Yvonne's house that are on our property that would be required to be removed to be able to construct the new dwelling. Snow removal. Unfortunately, Yvonne, you and I live on the bad side of the one-way street, and we tend to get quite a bit of snow. Angie doesn't get as much as we do from the plow. Obviously, we will need to keep our snow on our property, much like we do now. We do hire a firm to come in and blow the snow to clear our driveways, and we may very well do that as we continue, or who knows, I might buy a little snow blower and get out and do it myself. But obviously, we'll have to clear the snow. With respect to parking, there are requirements that we need to meet from the city in terms of parking requirements. It is our intent, even though we don't have a floor plan, shall we say, completed, that we would most likely construct a single car garage as part of this house. And so that will enable at least one of our vehicles to be parked inside. And the outside driveway will have to probably be widened to accommodate the other vehicles that we presently have or may continue to have. What was real estate value?
Property.
Yeah, I'm probably not the right person to speak to real estate values. Obviously, other than I know they've gone up, it's certainly what we would propose to construct would be meant to fit in with the neighborhood. Our intent probably is to construct a 1.5 story, just two-story house on slab, with the main bedroom on the main floor. So we can grow old here. Kelly, is there?
Property values are at an all-time high in this and other communities, so I'm not certain that would be us building a new home here would be a detriment. But.
And I think, Your Worship, you may have mentioned traffic. Traffic, I don't think, from the point of view of what would be generated from another house, would be of any major concern. We are on a dead-end street. There's 4 homes on it now. A 5th, yes, would add a little bit more traffic. But as some of you may know, my background with government I would suggest that the increase of would not be significant at all from the point of view of any delays at the intersection of our street and Hawthorne by the introduction of one home.
Yeah. And Alan, as for growing old, we're all growing old. And the snow situation down First Street, you'll have to call your counselor, get that cleared up. Yvonne, did that respond to your questions, or do you need any clarification?
No, I think that's okay.
Okay. Angie, do you wish to make any comment or ask a question, or Ronnie Carricker, if he's there?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Is this Angie?
Yeah, sorry, it's Angie MacArthur. No, I'm just kind of, I guess I could tell you is that I'm the nosy neighbor, so I'm just more here gathering information and just, when it's a home that you've been in, I was born and raised here on this street, so just here kind of gathering the information and participating and supporting. No, I'm good.
Yeah. And again, that snow situation, Angie, get a hold of your counselor.
No, I have the good side of the street, so I don't have to do as much snow removal on my side.
Okay. Is Ronnie, Ellen, is Ronnie Carricker on the line?
I do have a call-in user number 3, so I'm not sure if that's Ronnie, but if he's not responding, maybe he hasn't joined us.
Okay. And
Okay.
I believe I have Yvonne and Angie here, and that's the two speakers. Any closing questions or concerns of Yvonne, Angie, or just I'll open it up to the councillors or some of the planning board members if they have questions. You want to? Yvonne, you're all right. We can move on. Just ask any questions from the councillors or planning board members. Okay. Okay. I see Councillor Ramsey. Do you have a question to Alan and Shelley, or?
Oh, yes, I do, Your Worship. Thank you, Alan and Shelley, for your presentation. Your new house that you're going to be building, I'm just trying to sort of get my bearings down. Is that facing towards Charlottetown where the old Chandler brothers used to be? Or is it facing up towards Angie's place?
It will be facing the street. It will be aligned with in alignment with our house and Yvonne's house, not closer to the road than either of our homes, but basically in line. It would be looking at Angie's side yard, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. And you have no problem in the winter because she's on the good side. Okay, any other questions, concerns? Well, Alan, Shelley, thank you for your presentation. Yvonne, Angie, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we have 85 Malpeck Road. Councillor McLeod, do you want to read the description to that, or you just want to hand it over to Robert Zilk? What's your preference?
We'll let staff do that. You know me, I don't like to talk too much.
Okay, Robert, can we turn it over to Robert, and he will present 85 Malpeck Road with Greg McDougall and Jeff Murphy present for the application. You there, Robert?
I am, Your Worship. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the application is for an official plan redesignation from
Sorry.
residential. Oh, sorry.
I don't think we see your screen. We're not seeing your presentation materials.
How's that?
You might have to share the slides, not your screen, because we're seeing the WebEx.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get photos of council. Yeah, okay. Just 1 second. And we got your chat too there, Robert.
Okay.
It's not sharing your...
Let's see if it's...
Try just sharing your file, I guess. Or do you want me to
Rory, can you...
Could you throw it on? I just have a select window or screen, that's it. And it just points to Firefox or the entire screen.
Ellen, can you share it?
let me just try to open this slide. Oh, there you go. I can see your presentation now.
There you are now.
Where?
Robert. Just
Perfect.
yeah.
And just do a slideshow. Yep.
Good, good. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Ellen.
All right. So the application is for a rezoning and an official plan redesignation. The redesignation is to change from residential to institutional, and the rezoning is to change the single detached residential zone R1L to institutional zone. And the subject lot will be consolidated with the principal lot located at 73 Malpeck Road. So this is the subject property that's going through the rezoning and official plan redesignation is identified with the red star there. And highlighted in red here, we can see in relation to the rest of the properties, We have the cottages to the north of the property, and then the existing care home to the south, in which that lot will be consolidated to. That's in order to construct an addition of the existing senior care home facility there. One thing that staff received response to regards to the application from members of the public was some residents that lived in the residential development behind the subject property on Katy Drive and Trainer Street. There was just some concerns in regards to the minimum distance that the addition would maintain from the rear of the residential lots on Trainer Street. And that red arrow kind of highlights the rear property boundary. Now, according to the zoning and development bylaw regulations, because if this property were to be successfully rezoned and redesignated to an institutional zone, there would be a land use buffer requirement, a 4-meter or 13-foot land use buffer that can be either a fence, a hedge, or trees, or a combination thereof, in order to just minimize and screen the building or the proposed addition on that subject property. So that is a requirement in the zoning bylaw, and that would be applied at the time of the building and development permits. This is the proposed site plan that the applicant has submitted to our office. As you can see, the lot will, once consolidated, would act as an addition for the existing senior care home, and as well as act as overflow parking for the care home as well. One thing to note is that as per Public Works requirements, the existing access or approach off of Malpeque Road to that subject lot will be closed. So all primary access would be coming from the adjacent lot. And that is the end of the presentation. I believe that the applicant is here to present or take any questions as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. We do have Jeff Murphy and Dougal. Greg, do you want to go first, or Jeff? How
Yes.
are you with you?
I can go first. Your Worship, Mayor Brown, City Council, and neighbors. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Greg McDougall. I'm the head of real estate for Andrews Senior Care. And Jeff's with me here too, representing his family business. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to apply for the rezoning. As it's currently, as Robert indicated, it's zoned R1, and we're looking to have it rezoned institutional. This would give us the ability to expand the existing home and allow us to offer continued healthcare services to our community. Presently, we're a licensed community care facility, so we cater to level 1 to 3. Nursing care is level 4 and 5. It would be our intentions to apply for nursing care license into the future when the opportunity arises. So then we can essentially have our residents age in place, and they don't have to be relocated after they get beyond level 3 care. We feel it's the best to ensure the resident stays within the facilities, the staff, the residents that they're familiar with. As well, it would take some strain off the healthcare by having this addition go ahead. Oftentimes there's residents in hospital beds that could be in nursing care beds. So that's our intention. The expansion would still not finalized, but would be looking like an addition of 50 to 70 new healthcare beds. I do have, Robert kind of touched on it, but I will share just a quick little presentation. You see that screen okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yep, perfect. So as Robert indicated, our existing facility here with the main entrance coming in, this entrance to the vacant lot is used for staff overflow parking presently. That access point would be eliminated. all the traffic would flow in through the main part of our parking lot. With the expansion, there is a section of the existing facility that would be renovated as well, right over here. It would branch off here and go towards the back of the property. I did have an opportunity to speak to some of our neighbors to address any potential concerns. There was concern brought forward with regards to some greenery or fencing. I did have the opportunity to speak to our ownership group, and we are certainly fully on board with putting a fence or a hedge line or anything within reason to ensure that we remain good, positive neighbors. So the next slide is, as Robert showed earlier, just a building here. The minimum is 13 feet. We're actually 25 feet, and that could be even shrunk back depending on the economics of the number of beds that go in the expansion. That could shrink even further back to more align with the existing facility itself. That concludes my presentation. I want to open it up to neighbors or anybody else.
Could I ask, Jeff, do you want to make some comments? Jeff Murphy, or you're all right with?
No, thanks, Your Worship. Appreciate the opportunity, but I think Greg summarized it well, and if we can answer any questions and alleviate any concerns, we're happy to do so.
Sean McGilvery, I know you're there with us. Sean, do you want to ask some questions, make some comments?
Yes, good evening, Your Worship. Can you hear me?
Yeah. And Sean, you live in the area, live in Charlottetown. That's all I need to know. Just don't have to be
Yes,
specific.
in Charlottetown on Trainer Street.
Okay. Do you wish to ask to Greg or Jeff or Robert?
Yeah, my questions would be directed more towards Greg and Jeff.
Okay.
I spoke with Greg last week. I've dealt with, I'm Sean from Sean's No Frills, formerly Sean's No Frills. I've dealt with Greg and Jeff for the entire time my store was on that property. They are men of the words. Never had an issue with Greg or Jeff in terms of follow-up or follow-through when I had the store. So like I said, I did speak with Greg last week, and we did talk about the greenery or the fence just to close in the area. I just wanted to bring forward the safety of the residents, not only in Andrews Lodge, but the residents of the subdivision, just to try and limit the points of entry. There was a bit of a disruption last summer with a break in there. And I just think with some, again, limit the points of entry may help with providing all of us with a little bit more safety. The only other question I have, and I didn't ask Greg last week, is would the building size be consistent with what's there today in terms of sightlines? As far as the height goes, 2-story or?
So yeah, it would look like a 2-story addition, similar to the front, and the current branch that would be coming off of would be a 2-story.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, like I said, Your Worship, I spoke with Greg last week, and he pretty much answered all my questions. I just wanted to come on this evening and reiterate those, and also just hear what was being presented.
Sean, I appreciate your input and feedback, and I know that Greg and also Jeff appreciate it because it's part of how they build within the community. Any questions from planning board members, councillors? No? Okay, Councillor McLeod. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your presentation, and to you, Sean, as well, for coming on. Greg, can you just explain how many feet the building will be from the property line, from the properties in Trainer Street? Like, if the minimum is 13 feet, what are you proposing?
So in that initial rendering, which we are in our early days of the design and concept, that rendering has it out 25 feet from the adjacent property. Depending on the economics of the overall project, it may even be shrunk down So it would be in excess of 30 plus feet back from the property. It would never go closer to the property. It would come back more towards the road, the Malpeque Road.
Good. Great. No, I know we did discuss it. I just couldn't remember exactly how many feet, so appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Sean, maybe I could just a few words to that point about the setbacks and the sight lines, Sean. And again, Sean, thank you for your feedback and for coming and representing your neighbors. It's good to hear from you again. We miss having you over in Bunbury, I guess, as we used to call it. We consider ourselves part of the neighborhood too. I know our residents certainly do, and they enjoy being there. And whatever we can do at the back of this expansion to make it more appealing with landscaping and fencing, we will certainly do that, and we are open to ideas from yourself or others in the neighborhood. At the end of the day, we want to hopefully add value to the community and be a productive part of it as well. So for both our residents' benefits and for those that back onto it. So keep in touch, and if there's something we can do back there to make it better for everybody, we certainly will do everything we can.
Okay. I appreciate that, Greg. My wife and I spent our wedding night in the cabins, and we plan on hopping the fence and retiring in the home when we get to that age.
We'll give you a special rate.
Well, that was Jeff. Well, please welcome you, and we'll get a special rate for sure. We got a all good neighbor rate.
Geez, Murphy, you're already making deals. Councilor Bernard, did you raise your hand there? Do you want to ask a question? I think.
Yeah, I could. Just out of curiosity, I just wonder how many more rooms this opens up. The new expansion, what the plans are.
It's still, as Greg mentioned, Councilor, it's not finalized yet, but it'll probably be somewhere between 50 and 70 rooms. And that final number will probably depend on sort of our projections for potential demand when we start construction and a number of other factors. There's a lot in the air, but it'll be between 50 and 70 rooms, I suspect.
Right on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Greg, I think you said or stated at our meeting, is it square footage, your footprint? What are you looking at, Greg? Greg, 50,000?
It's about 20,000 on the ground, 20,000 square feet on the ground. Yeah.
Total would be 2 floors of 40 plus.
It would be less than 40. Part of it doesn't have a second floor over. We would do an additional dining room and an activities room for the residents. So that area would not have a second level.
Okay.
So be less than 40,000 square feet.
Councilor McCabe?
Thank you. More just a comment, I think. First of all, thank you for your presentation, but I think this is definitely something that we can benefit from in our city, for sure. I like the idea of keeping residents in their comfort place and being able to take it to the next level, for sure, and then working with your community. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCabe. Good
Thank you.
Thank you. And Greg, Jeff, make sure you try to keep as many trees as you can or plant as many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We love trees. I couldn't agree more.
Right, right. Any other comments? No? Okay, Sean McGilvery, thank you for your input, feedback, and introduction of new business. Seeing none? Well, this is a great night, 7:44. This is an early night for us. We can stay on longer, Councilor Ramsey.
No.
Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn. Councilor McCabe, Councilor Ramsey, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you, Yvonne, Angie, and to Alan and Shelley. Thank you very much, and to our planning board members. Take care. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.